Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, I am sitting down with Chef Via Melissa. She is here to talk about how to simplify holiday dinners, parties, all that good stuff. It is a busy time of year. We get invited to parties. We have to bring something. We don't know what to bring. We might not be that well versed in the kitchen. I'm talking to myself. We need simple but tasty. You want to wow the guest, but you also don't want to take too much of your time because let's face it, we're busy. We've got a zillion things to do. Being enslaving in the kitchen is the last thing we want to do. So she is talking about 4 specific recipes. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see these recipes. They are simple, but they're delicious. They're yummy, and they're so holiday kind of themed, and how she dresses them up just really adds that flavorful kind of pop to it that makes it very holiday. We also talk about her upcoming digital cookbook that she's going to be doing around Christmas and other future books that just to really help you simplify cooking so it becomes more of a joyous activity. And also, this is somebody who decided to follow her passion. And I think it's important that everybody does that and you find that burning desire within you and you find a way to make money on that, because that's really what our life is about, is like taking the gift that we were given when we were born and sharing it with the world. And this next guest is sharing her gift of culinary food, which is a great act of love. And a lot of people say food is love. So I will stop rambling. We'll be right back after this brief break with our guest on this episode of Next to Madison. Hi, it's your host, Madison Malloy. For those of you who don't know, I've written and created a powerful collection of books to help you build confidence, shift your mindset, and attract the life you truly want. From Time to Lighten the F Up, to Affirm and Flourish, Color Your Way to Abundance, and more. These aren't just books, they're tools for transformation. Grab a copy now on Amazon or at madisonmalloy.com. Now back to the show. Okay, we are back with our amazing guest on this episode of Next to Madison. We have got Chef Via Melissa. Welcome to the show, my dear. How are you?
I'm amazing, Madison. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited because now that we're in the full swing of the holiday season, the parties are starting, the invites, the family gatherings, the friends gatherings, and people get invited to these parties and they say, well, what do I bring? Do I just bring a bottle of wine that's, wrapped in cellophane, shiny cellophane with a ribbon? Or is there something I can actually make that's going to really wow the crowd? And so that's what you're here to talk about, is some simple recipes that people like me who can't really cook or don't want to cook can still get into the kitchen, make a great appetizer or meal, and bring it to the party and contribute to everyone's grumbling bellies.
Sounds like a plan, and I'm so happy to be the chef to the rescue, so to say.
Yes, no, I love it because, I've tasted your food. It's absolutely amazing, which is why you're on the show. I'm like, you were legit. So let's talk about, first of all, I want to ask you, you've done a lot of parties, you've catered a lot of parties, you've planned some parties. What to you makes a perfect holiday party?
One where everybody is smiling and laughing. Although sometimes, like, especially if it's a sit-down party, when there's silence, because when there's silence, that means people are really indulging and enjoying what they're eating, and they're just so focused on the flavors. It's like, oh my God. So when I used to host events, that was probably my favorite little moments throughout them.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because it's like they're all in that awe. But the thing
Mhm.
about cooking and preparing food is it's kind of an act of love, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, for me, it started as a hobby, and believe it or not, speaking of active love, I would find cooking to be my zen. I would just literally focus at what I'm doing and what I'm making. And I just found that to be like, I loved what I was doing. I was just in my zen, in my element, tuned all the other stresses of life out. And then that's truly how I went from home cook to professional chef. Long story short, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing how sometimes, like, when we just follow what really makes us happy, like our
Mhm.
passion, that it can lead to really amazing things if we just follow our heart. And that's what
Absolutely.
happened to you.
Mhm.
You know,
Bar
so
none.
yeah, you were like, I enjoyed cooking at home. I enjoyed cooking for my friends. Well, my friends are enjoying it so much. Why their friends are enjoying it when I get invited to parties. And you probably get more invites
Mhm.
to parties now that you can cook.
Yes, it's a blessing and a curse, of course.
Right, exactly. So let's get into it. Let's talk. You made four specific things that you felt are easy, and you're going to talk about them so people can get ideas that they can bring to the party, the family gathering, whatever it is this busy holiday season. So let's get into option one.
All right, drum roll, please. I have all my dishes sitting right behind me. I'm going to start with my Christmas holiday tacos. Yum,
Oh,
yum, yum.
wow. Okay. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it's a hybrid. So Christmas colors, or I mean holiday colors, right? So you have red, white, and green. And this is actually one of the dishes that is featured in my upcoming holiday themes cookbook. I'm doing an homage of the Feast of the Seven Dishes, which is a play on the Italian American version of the Feast of the Seven Fishes. At any
Wow.
rate, whether you're Italian or not, very universal for any holiday entertaining. So it's a super easy ground basil chicken that I make as a stir fry, which literally takes 5 to 7 minutes to do that. I have some corn tortillas, which I like using because they're crowd universal in the sense that they're gluten free, so you don't have to worry about allergens. And then I'm also personally gluten and dairy free, so I top these with some fresh tomato sauce. But if you are not a chef, you can literally just get a delicious store-bought prepared tomato sauce, put a few dollops on here, and then use your cheese of choice. Again, I prefer dairy-free and anti-inflammatory, so I have a vegan cheese on here. And then I just did some chopped up basil. Literally start to finish, 15 minutes.
So
Super easy.
it's ground
Perfect.
chicken. So you just buy like the
Yeah,
ground chicken and then you mix. What do
yeah.
you season the chicken with to give it more flavor?
Yeah. So to give you a really quick walkthrough, so I saute the pan with olive oil, uh, garlic, and onions, and then I throw in the ground chicken and I season it with. I put in some chopped fresh basil, but then I also put in a little bit of sea salt and some garlic powder, and I just literally stir fry it for about 5 or so minutes. Once the chicken is fully cooked, take it off, plate it, and you're done.
So yeah, that's really simple. You just get like the canned tomatoes, but
Mhm.
the Christmas, I love the name, the Christmas holiday taco because it's the
Mhm.
Christmas colors, but you still get that simple, tasty. And it's great because you could, I feel like you could show up with the chicken in one dish and then bring the tortillas and kind of make it right there.
Yeah, and that you took the words right out of my mouth. What I would recommend to this for holiday entertaining is whether you're hosting or bringing it to a party, it's also kind of a fun, like build your own. You could set up your own little build your own taco station. You could even do like different toppings, as
Yeah.
well to
No,
sort of make
it
it fun.
looks delicious and very simple too. Could you do, instead of tomatoes, could you do salsa?
Oh, absolutely. You can do
Okay.
anything you'd like. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. All right, what's option number two? And if you're listening to this on audio, you got to go over to our YouTube so you can see these delicious dishes.
Yeah. All
She is
right.
right in
Option
her kitchen.
number two. Woohoo. Okay. So, and I love that, I love doing simple staging too. I wanted to point that out. So these are super simple stuffed mushrooms. And there's so many different ways that you can do them. I'll walk you through how I made these, and then I'll
Okay.
give you some iterations that you could also do. So mine are stuffed with, I have plain gluten-free breadcrumbs. And in a bowl, I mix the breadcrumbs with some vegan mozzarella, and then I do a little bit of garlic and sea salt. I also season each of the mushroom pieces when they're laid out on a baking sheet before putting any of the filling in, so each bite gets a little bit of flavor in it, just a teeny taste of the salt. Then all I do is mix the mixture, the cheese and the breadcrumbs, stuff them, bake them 10 to 12 minutes, take them out, put them on a platter, throw a nice little festive, toothpick in it, and super easy for holiday hosting and entertaining or bringing to a party. Um, Pivots that you can
Wow.
do with this. Thank you. Some of the pivots that you could do with this is if you wanted to do Parmesan cheese, if you wanted to do cheddar cheese, you could even do like cheddar with spinach. So again, there's so many iterations. And like I said, I use gluten-free crumbs, but if you wanted to use regular pecorino romano, flavored breadcrumbs, make it go away.
Okay, I love it. All right, option three.
All right, moving right down the pipe. here we have, which I know that you've tried these. Da, da, da. These are my
Yes.
polenta bites.
Oh, and they're so
So,
delicious. So explain to the audience, because it wasn't until really when I had yours, I
mhm.
said, "What is polenta?"
Yeah, polenta is it's cornmeal, and the way that I purchase it and dish it up in these bites. So it's really just corn and water. And in this application, some retailers like Trader Joe's or even ShopRite sell it in a block form. It's 16-ounce blocks, and then I just slice it into these little rounds. And then again, you could use store-bought or fresh tomato sauce. And then I slice them in the rounds, lay them flat on a baking sheet, top it with tomato sauce, a little bit of cheese, bake them for 10 minutes. After I take them out of the oven, I throw on the basil. You don't want to cook the basil because they don't get all wilty and gross looking.
Yeah.
And then just to make them nice and holiday festive, I have these cute little, gold forks just to make it pop for the staging and of course for easy eating.
So simple. So
Very
simple.
nice.
So you can basically just buy the polenta at one of these stores, cut it up,
Mhm. Yeah,
put some tomato sauce on it and some cheese and bake it for how long do you bake that for?
10 minutes.
I love
Really
it.
easy. And that's the thing. All of the dishes that I'm showing you can literally be made in under 20 minutes.
Yes, yes. No, and that's what we want because people are so busy, especially during the holiday season, trying to get, all the family ready, the shopping ready, the house ready. There's so much to do. So the simpler we can make these things, the better. But still, if you showed
Exactly.
up to my house with that, I'd be like, oh my God, it looked like you slaved away, but you didn't really have
Mhm.
to, which is what I love about these. Okay, what's your next one?
Yeah. So the next one that I did, so this is my Southwest mac and cheese, and I love how I
Oh,
put them in these holiday colored, cups. So you can obviously dish it up in a platter, but I love doing individual bite-sized things. And yeah, so my Southwest mac and cheese. So I boiled up some gluten-free elbow pasta, but again, you can do regular pasta if you'd like. Then I melted some vegan cheese with a little bit of creamer, some garlic powder, some paprika, a little bit of salt, let that all melt down, poured it over the cooked pasta. Then I filled it into these cute little cups and then just did a little dash of paprika for some extra flavor and color.
so simple.
And of course, little forks make it nice and cute on the
Yeah,
top.
and yeah, exactly. It's amazing that you can make such a simple dish, but when you get those little accessories at like one of the party
Mhm.
places or on Amazon, you can really kind of jazz up something that really is so simple. But what a great idea to take little cupcake holiday, kind of plastic, or you could even do paper if you wanted,
Oh,
little holders
absolutely.
and bring them over
Mhm.
like that with the little
Yeah.
forks. I just love that. Oh, that's great. Do we have any other dishes?
For tonight, no.
Okay.
Those
So
are
she
all the
gave,
ones that I did.
yeah,
I
she
mean, I have
made
many others I can talk about, but just these are the ones that I cooked tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, so she cooked for us even though we're not in studio because we don't have a kitchen in our studio. So I was like, we need to do it where we're in your kitchen so we can see
Mhm.
some of these things. So thank you so much for doing that. But yeah, super simple, super easy. So what are some other things that you've kind of learned as a chef of how to make a great holiday meal more simple?
So one of the things that I always like to emphasize, because so many people don't know where to start, and it's especially it always comes down to timing. Like, what do I do first? What do I do last? Like, how
Yeah.
do I keep my meal organized so that things always come out at the same time? So I always like to say, look at the recipes, look at what it is that you're making, do as much pre-prep work as you can before you do the actual cooking. However, when you're doing the actual cooking and prepping, do whatever takes longer first. So you're going to cook basically going from longest to shortest. Because when you start with the longest thing, you have that going while you're prepping other things that might be medium length of time. And then the shortest things at the end, by the magic of kitchen culinary timing, things will then, for the most part, end up finishing, give or take, around the same time. And even though, let's say, if you're serving a salad first, do that last, right before you're about to put everything on the table, because especially if you're going to dress it with dressing, salads get very wilty. You don't want to do that first and just have it sitting on the side. So those are some things that just help with timing things out in the kitchen to help for a smoother transition.
Yeah, because it's crazy, especially and so what about people that are like, hey, I've got a family of four that I cook for, and now all of a sudden everybody's both sides of the family are now coming over, and now you've got 20 people to cook for.
And also, don't do it all that same day. Let's say you're making, a lasagna or a casserole dish. You can literally prep that a day or two ahead of time, have it all prepped and ready, sitting in your refrigerator, so that when your family that's normally four, that's now 20 is coming over, you can just pop it in the oven and then let that cook for the, 30 to 40 minutes that it might take while you're then doing other quicker, smaller things that might be better served freshly prepared.
And what do you think if somebody's hosting like a big dinner? Like what are some recipes that you find that are mind-blowing but simple for a
Yeah.
large party?
So believe it or not, and I know you don't like shrimp.
Yeah, well, I can't because I'm allergic to it. But
So
yes, we'll
that's
go with the
sorry.
shrimp.
Yeah. But seafood in general, because it cooks so fast and yet it still is a little bit more elevated. I love doing like a shrimp appetizer or even an entree. Like one of my other signature dishes that I did a holiday version is a salmon with a dill Dijon sauce. And what I did for that for the holiday book is, it's the salmon topped with the dill Dijon sauce, but then I did some fresh pomegranates as well as diced scallions on it to give it that red green with the white sauce combo. That's also literally would take 15 minutes to make, but it's crowd pleasing as well. Something else
Yeah.
that you can also large batch cook. I love doing, let's say, for the meat lovers, you can do a chicken franchise and then maybe do it in two giant saute pans. You could do two pans simultaneously if you have enough real estate on your cooktop. So
Yeah.
that's something you can do. You could let it even sit for a few hours and then just do like a quick reheat right before everybody comes over.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, yeah, because I think the holidays get so overwhelming with like the entertaining, the parties, the
Mhm.
prepping everything, the getting the gifts, I think people just get overwhelmed. And then the whole magic of the holiday season and the true meaning behind it gets sucked out behind all the stress. So it's
Mhm.
like, I think it's like for everything we do, it's like how can we simplify our lives to where we can actually take a moment and enjoy those memories because that's what we're creating, right? We have these memories and that moment can never be
Mhm.
recreated, that exact moment. So it's really trying not to stress yourself during the time, but like making sure that you are really like creating those valuable memories that are going to be, life-changing.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is, I mean, nowadays, I mean, obviously most people know their families, but then, so many people have allergies and you're not going to make the same dish one way and another way. So we live in a
Yeah.
time make so many things in a universal manner so that everybody can participate without having to duplicate one's efforts as well.
Yeah, and also don't be afraid to ask people to bring stuff.
That as well. That was going to be the next thing I said. One of the easiest things to do is make it like a potluck. You can,
Yeah.
buy and make a bunch of the core dishes. Me and my family do that all the time because, some people have their favorites or their traditions, and you don't want to have to be the one person to make everybody's favorite in their tradition, but that person can make their favorite and tradition and contribute it to the party.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And always remember what the meaning of Christmas is. It's not about the gifts and the food. It's about
Mhm.
something more special, the birth of Jesus. So always remember that, let go of the stress. But that's why it was important for you to come on here and like talk about like what's simple so people can wow people, but also not feel so, overwhelmed. So you have a cookbook coming out, which is going to dive into all your yummy recipes. What inspired that and when can people get their hands on it?
Yeah, so it's in the finishing touches right now. So I'm hoping to have it out by early November. As a matter of fact, November 3rd is the 9-year anniversary of my first event.
Cut,
Uh,
cut. We're going to pick up here. This is not coming out till December.
oh, sorry,
Okay, so we're
my
gonna
bad.
we're gonna we're gonna start
Yeah,
right
yeah,
with that. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. Okay.
So you have an exciting new project you've been working on. You have been putting together a cookbook of all your magnificent recipes. So what inspired this and how do people get their hands on it?
Yes, so it is a digital cookbook that is readily available on my website, viaskitchen.com,
Okay.
viaschen.com, or you can go to my social, Chef Via Melissa, and find a link directly there through Instagram. But yeah, so funny enough, I actually came up with the idea last holiday season. I was actually hanging out with a couple of other influencer friends of mine, and we actually almost did this as a series last Christmas, but it was literally 2 weeks before Christmas. And I'm like, I'm not going to pull this together in 2 weeks. I could, but I chose not to. Like, if I'm going to do it, let me do it right. And
Yeah.
of course, I sat on the idea all year. And it wasn't until about September, October, I'm like, oh crap, holiday season's coming up. Like, let me get this in motion. Um, but this one, it's a mini book, but the first of many series that I'm planning to do. So it's an homage to the Feast of the Seven Fishes, and it's the Feast of the Seven Dishes. So it's a modern American, Italian American twist on an Italian American tradition, with everything being Christmas and holiday colored. But who's going to eat seven fishes in today's world? So I like
Yeah.
variety, I like flavor. So that was the inspiration. And then I'm planning to, get more active with sharing my recipes with corresponding videos. So the videos will be free. And then to get the actual full recipes, it's a digital cookbook for purchase. And then as of now, I'm slating to hopefully come out with different themes, digital cookbook guides at least once a quarter.
Okay, so it'll be kind of like based on the holidays, like maybe some favorite
Mhm.
barbecue items or,
Exactly. Yeah,
mastering
yeah,
the
yeah.
grill.
100%.
No, and I love that because my mother gets so much inspiration on Pinterest. And she'll
Yeah.
go and she'll find these recipes. And when I'm home, she'll put something together. And some of them are just amazing. But she has so much joy being able to pull up her little iPad and have this digital thing because nobody's really going. They're not like they used to take those old school cookbooks and they'd put them up in their
Yeah.
kitchen on a little thing and it'd get all messy and there'd be food all over it. It was just gross. But, that was like your grandma's cookbook. And then now it's like you have these digital recipes. And what I like about it is like things can always change and you can alter things.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I'm also a huge believer of sustainability. So, not only is it cleaner, easier in your fingertips, but also by not printing the paper, it's also a sustainable effort as well.
Okay, good, good. You're helping the environment through I'm just kidding. We just
Exactly.
want to eat. This is an
I was just real
environmentally
quick at a
friendly
time.
podcast. No, we're just
Exactly. Oh, I
listen, we're
know.
all about making the world better, I guess. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, if
Any
the,
little effort
the
helps.
less print
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can have, yeah, exactly. Everybody
Yeah.
does their part, but I want to make sure people
I'm
aren't like,
hugging a
what?
tree. I'm hugging a tree now. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. No, but I like that because everybody's on like their iPads, and
Yeah.
that's where
Well,
they're going to. I mean, that's where my mom does it. But it's amazing how, you can come up with these things but I just love it because like I'm starting to learn how to cook.
mhm.
And, really like people would say, my mom would say, cooking is not hard. You just have to learn to follow directions. Yes and no. It's not as easy as following directions because I'm one of those people that says, "Oh, I don't have that ingredient. Fuck it, we'll skip it." I did
Yeah.
that with cookies one time, and you know what I forgot?
Ooh.
Baking powder. That's a
Little
key
curveball.
ingredient to get it to rise. So the cookies are just this crazy, crazy thing. So the ingredients are so important, but I
Yeah.
do I do love the fact that like the digital stuff's out there and it can be like a step-by-step guide with like the pictures. But yeah, I love that you're
Mhm.
going to have the videos with it too, because sometimes people just want to see. I love watching those segments on like Good Morning America or the Today Show
Mhm.
where they have the cooking segments or even like these TikTok videos where it's like make this easy to I just get lost in them and I want to like run to the grocery store or run to my kitchen and make this and then I'm like I don't have time for that. But that's why simplified is good because nobody has time to make these meals.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. And to your point, it's one thing to read words on a page and it's like, oh, wait, how do I do that? How do I do that? But that's why I strongly believe for the ease of learning, you see the video, you see how simple it is. Then you have the printed version and you could even watch the video as a go along for your first go around. So
Yeah.
in my opinion, it doesn't get any simpler than that.
No, I agree. Absolutely. And you can wow. I remember people used to say like, oh, as females, they'd be like, you know, if you want to fetch a man, you got to be able to fetch a good male. And it's like, what? This isn't the 50s. But it's like,
Seriously.
but there is something fun about like I can't wait to like when I eventually like settle into like a house versus being in New York City, it's like to have dinner parties and to have people like you over and friends that love to cook that can come and teach me, hey, like
Mhm.
this is what you can do, but this is how we can expand upon it because I would love to like have dinner parties. I think
Mhm.
everyone might be a little nervous and scared when they first see it to be like, wait, you're cooking? What? What? But you'd be surprised. I actually cooked for a friend of mine. She was like, you have a skill I don't think you realize. But
Nice.
yeah, so but it brought them so much joy that I was like, now I
Mhm.
know why people do this. Like it was
It's so
such an
true.
enjoyable thing.
Yeah, and it's funny. I have so many friends over the years, especially as I became, a professional chef. Like, I'm scared to cook for you. I'm like, no, please don't be scared to cook for me. I love when people cook for me. As much as I love cooking for people, I love to be cooked for. And yeah, I remember my friend Melissa Colabella, amazing, amazing home chef. And even recently, I was at my friend Mike's house. His sister Danielle made super delicious chicken stir fry, and I was like, oh my God. So there's so
Yeah.
many amazing out there within my inner circle.
Okay, well,
So I
good.
would love for you to cook for me someday, is what I was saying. Moral of the story. And I
Yes.
can teach you, so it'll be chef approved. We could, figure this out.
I love this. This will be like a team effort. Okay, so I want to get into because you did mention something a few times when you were showing those recipes about gluten. Now,
Mhm.
there's people that knowingly are gluten intolerant and they really can't have it like yourself and they stay away from it. But the truth of the matter is majority of people actually can't handle gluten, and gluten's very inflammatory. So
Correct.
can you tell us a little bit about that journey and like how you learn to adapt to kind of take that out? Because it gluten is inflammatory, even if you're not quote unquote intolerant to it. It's
Mhm.
something really that our bodies aren't designed to break down.
No, absolutely. You're on 100%. And so I actually have both a gluten and a dairy allergy, which both started a year apart, gluten being the second one. So I literally would eat something and I started to feel nauseous, and I'm like, oof, this doesn't feel right. So then I was kind of like, just through elimination, I would cycle it out, cycle
Yeah.
it in, and I was doing okay for a bit. And then I remember oh my gosh, I don't know, a birthday 9 years ago, however the heck old I was back then, in my mid 30s. I had ordered a gnocchi thinking, okay, a gnocchi potato based, forgetting gnocchi is actually made with potatoes and flour, or potatoes and ricotta, but this one was potatoes and flour. I got the sickest that I ever got in my life from eating said gluten that was in it. And the timing, of course, was the worst because I was actually doing my first full-on dinner party the next day, New Year's Eve. My birthday is December 30th. High VIP client, New Year's Eve. I was up sick all night and I had to plow through. However, so then I just started avoiding it altogether from there. Unfortunately, and this is going back 9 years ago, at that time, so I got a blood test. I'm not celiac. And a lot of the tests, or at least the one that were out at the time, was saying you have to eat the ingredient every day for 2 weeks and then get the proper testing. So just by avoidance is how I've just steered clear from it. Long story short, I then started to swap out ingredients to do my research. So like rice is naturally gluten free. Quinoa is naturally gluten free. Obviously, there's gluten free pastas. There's different gluten free flours. Barley is not gluten free, nor is couscous. So once I started, learning and realizing, what I should and shouldn't eat, I then started adapting all of my recipes in that capacity as well. And then I stopped getting sick.
Yeah, but and you mentioned dairy too. Dairy's another one that most people really can't tolerate. Like our bodies were not designed for it. So I think the more that we can get away from that all the time. We don't have to stress ourselves at restaurants necessarily, but like when we're cooking, I think it's like, how can we put in these options? Now, you mentioned vegan cheese, but my whole thing about vegan food is I feel like it's more processed than it needs to be.
It
Is that your
depends. I
finding?
mean, yes and no. It depends on what you're eating. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's a plethora of like super processed foods that one can get, but I always look at ingredients. I try to shop organic. I look at, shorter
Yeah.
label. I look for real food ingredients. So the vegan cheese that I used tonight in my dishes was BioLife. I tend to use BioLife or Dia as my typical go-tos because they have organic ingredients. They're cleaner. You could recognize most of the words, in the ingredients list, But yeah, I mean, there's so many overly processed, vegan options out there. So the same approach that one would take when, shopping for non-vegan food should be the same approach that you take even for shopping for vegan food.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what is the goal for you? Like you had a regular job, regular career, doing very
Mhm.
well. You stepped into this passion, you ignited a business, you become successful. Now you're launching like this, digital cookbook empire that I know it's going to be successful because you're extremely talented. What is like if I could hand you a magic pot and say, like a genie, like lamp, make a wish. Like what is Chef Via Melissa's life look like in 5 years?
Chef Mia Melissa would love to have her own show, hosting in some capacity, doing cooking videos or partnerships and things of that nature, coexisting with a thriving online business and brand selling digital products.
Okay, I love it because you just love kind of the hospitality world,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
is, food is love.
Mhm.
That's what they say a lot. And so do you feel that your dating life is easier or harder because you're a great chef?
It's a
Or is it
catch
irrelevant?
22. No, it's a catch 22. I feel like unfortunately a lot of guys are intimidated by girl bosses. I'm a very driven person. I've had a lot of successes. I thrive to have a lot more success. And until I meet the right guy that also is driven and has their own drive and success, because I'm not going to be a sugar mama and date no scrub.
Exact
Been there, done
right.
that for way too long, unfortunately. But long story short, I need to meet my rights proper other half that would appreciate and respect me as I would appreciate and respect their career and their drive as well.
Yeah, it's so funny because God brought us down here and made us all of love, but it's the one thing we're all made up of, but it's the hardest thing to find. We find it within our friends,
Mhm.
within ourselves, within our families, but like that one partner, and maybe it's not meant to be easy. And maybe that's what the mindset we understand is like it's not meant to be easy. This is like finding a treasure in like a
Mhm.
haystack, right? Like it
Oh,
wouldn't be a
absolutely.
treasure if it was so easy to find. But
Totally.
also, I liked what you said about the girl boss thing. It's like, I've had a lot of conversations with girlfriends and I've had it on the podcast where you talk about the masculine, feminine energy. And it's like, okay, men, if you want your women to act more feminine, you need to act more masculine because they're feeling that they
Mhm.
have to step into those roles until you can take it and say, I got it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So,
Yeah. And also adding on to that too, it's also that catch 22 because it's like, obviously you want there to be physical attraction between both parties, but I want said perfect man one day to like me for both my looks and my brains, but not a lot of the men that I meet that just make me feel like I'm a piece of meat. And I'm like, I'm not. Thanks for thinking I'm hot, but I'm way more than that. So,
yeah, well, exactly. And that's what you want. It's like, looks fade and it's really the
mhm.
personality. I did hear a lovely joke. I brought it up on a previous podcast because it just struck me so it was so funny where somebody said, "Listen, being hot's not that big of a deal anymore. I could give almost any woman 50 grand and the right plastic surgeon, psh, she's hot. You
Ah,
need to work more with your personality. Stop focusing so much on the looks and obsessing and really focus on the true essence of your being because that's where the real beauty is. Everything
mhm,
fades. And it's hard getting older. You and I are around the same age and it is hard
mhm,
watching things change, but our minds get so the wisdom we gain and the knowledge and just the clarity and understanding and an appreciation of what life's really about. But now we got to deal with the fucking lines and everything kind of falling. So it's just a catch 22. But I was having a conversation with one of our common friends and I said, it'd be a real tragedy if I died looking like this. And he goes, well, why? And I was like, because I'd be young, vibrant, and hot. I said, but it's good if you look like, you beat the shit out of life in a good way and you're weathered. I mean, that's like, oh, she had a good life. So you don't
mm.
want to you want to still live. And I think that is important too. But I love that you followed your passion. So many people are so unhappy because they're stuck in jobs they don't like and they feel like it's too late. But you started this passion later in life. You were already kind of successful. You had your shit together. but you were like, you know what? There's something burning inside of me. And so what is your message to people who have got a passion but are afraid to take that leap? Like, and really talk about how you do both, you know,
Yeah.
and you can do
Yeah.
both. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Correct. And honestly, it's going to sound so cliche, but just like Nike, just do it. I mean, obviously, so becoming a chef was actually not my first bout of entrepreneurship. I had actually tried, bad timing too. At the start of the global financial crisis, I had gotten certified in nutrition and personal training. And I was, thinking I'm going to have this whole like fitness and wellness business. But at that time, starting that 2008, 2009, having a business model based on disposable income that nobody really had at that time was just bad timing. And I also realized it was premature in my career. I was in my upper 20s and I was not ready to be a girl boss yet. But then I actually had major apprehensions, fast forward 7, 8 years later when I was thinking about, doing this business. My situation was a little bit unique because I actually didn't get the courage to take that leap until mom is okay now, but my mom had actually been diagnosed with cancer. Her
Oh,
diagnosis hit
jeez.
me. Yeah, mom's in remission now. She is
Good. Oh,
amazing,
thank God.
but it was really eye-opening for me. I mean, I also used to travel a lot for business. I wanted to be a caretaker, be there for her. But it was one of those like, oh my God, like life is short. I have this talent and I have this passion for cooking. I want to do something with it. So concurrently, while I was taking care of her and nursing her back to health, I did a culinary program. And then within a few months, I did my first event for my business, which actually was a total flop. It was a public event with only 3 attendees. At that point, I then thought, holy shit, I just committed career suicide. Fast forward a few weeks later, my second event sold out. And I was like, people were ranting and raving about it. I was like, whew, okay, I'm onto
Yeah.
something. That was very scary. But then when I was running my catering business full time, I mean, in 7 years, I executed over 300 events. I was in the media over 100 times. I was on Dr. Oz multiple times, NDT TV doing stuff.
Wow.
So I just had this whirlwind of like, whoa, what just happened to me? But it was amazing. And point being, back to what I was saying originally, if I didn't just take that leap, I didn't just do it. And I had a very loose business plan. Like even my original business plan and what the business turned into were not one and the same, but I just kept following this inner burning feeling, this burning desire. And even to this day, I do
Yeah.
that. I'm a very intuitive person. I'm a very spiritual
Yeah.
person. I've become even more in my spiritual skin in the last 2 years, which have been the most transitional years of my life for many reasons. Um, and I'm just following my calling and following my path and just what feels right. I know I'm doing my purpose. And if anybody else has that burning desire, don't ignore the noise, follow it.
Yeah, they always say sometimes it's like you got to think from your gut and not your head. Your head
Mhm.
can get you in trouble because that's the logical, where the gut's more the intuitional and kind of the, you know, God's voice, not really in your head, but it's kind of in your gut and like following that gut feeling. But you decided to bet on yourself and it's paying off beautifully. And I'm so proud of you and happy to call you my friend and happy to have had you on
Yeah.
this podcast. So tell everybody where they can find you, get your
Mhm.
recipes, get your digital products, all that good stuff. Stock you, whatever you want, just not your address because I don't want to be responsible if you actually get a stalker.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So yes, so Chef Via Melissa, VIAMELISSA. You can find me there. I do most of my postings on Instagram, but I do also have YouTube and TikTok presence, both of which I would like and need to grow. So if you are watching this, please follow me on all platforms,
Yeah.
as well as I have my website, viaskitchen.com. But I'm actually soon going to be transferring over and launching a new site where I'll be selling all of my digital assets, hopefully in early 2026 at chefviamelissa.com, just so I can stay on brand across all platforms.
Of course. All right, you guys. So go check out Chef via Melissa, social media, online, and go and try one of her recipes. I love that she simplifies it, puts that healthy angle in it, and go support somebody who took a chance on themselves. And this is an encouragement for everybody who's listening, is if you're not going to bet on yourself, then how can you expect anyone else to? It's up to you to drive that ship So take this as a motivational sign. If you've got a passion burning inside of you, this is your chance. Start it as a side hustle, and you just never know when it becomes the main hustle. All
So
right,
true.
Chef Via Melissa, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who's listening, wherever you may be. We will see you next time on another episode of Next to Madison to see who's next. Bye. Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.